Previously on Fallout, A Tale of None. So, I find out I have to hit the right code, run out of there, hightail it out of there, and I have to leave the map for the proper cinematic to take place for me to still be alive. After I've done that, and I've destroyed the base, there's still one more thing that has to be taken care of.
What about the mutant leader? What about this so-called master? He must be stopped.
The Cathedral, which is now known to be connected to the super mutant base, is where this great leader of the master race is being held. When I talked to Nicole, who is in the Followers of the Apocalypse, I remember that we've talked about the weird goings-on at the Cathedral. She tells me to go talk to someone who's actually on the inside. And when I go there to talk to her, she tells me a little bit more information about where the master is and where the secret doors are and all of that jazz. I need one more companion. And I hear about a man named Tyco. So I go to the bar and I find him, and I lead him over to the Cathedral to take out some baddies. After going up several floors into the tower, unfortunately Tyco dies. So, rest in peace, Tyco. But he did help me kill a lot of the super mutants, and I've now picked up the flamethrower, rocket launcher, minigun, and I've been able to really kick some butt along the way. After I get the key card, I go down to the secret staircase. I go into a basement that just really looks like a generic basement. It just has a bunch of bookshelves. But as I go and click around after a bit, I do find one of them opens a secret door. And when I enter the secret door, I am treated to some of the most grotesque enemies I think I may have ever seen in a game of this style or any style. Those multi-legged and armed things are called centaurs. In the other games, they're really not as hard as they are in this one. There are also these floating eyes, and they're all called Master's Pets. I need to really just keep moving forward. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do that because for some reason, one of the super mutants has the most powerful plasma rifle of all time. After dying and dying and dying, I decide, you know what? I'm just running by these guys, and I'm going down to face the master. Luckily in this game, they don't chase you between floors in a complex. So I get to the elevator, I go down to the second floor, and I find some people working on some things, a super mutant or two, and some prisoners. When I go to the top left, the prisoners aren't really making any sense. These seem to be people who have been really messed up with these experiments, but are not quite super mutants. They're just kind of there. When I go down to the bottom of this map, luckily, I guess everyone in this map has no eyesight or maybe no eyeballs. So I go all the way down to the bottom where several prisoners are being held. And I press that button and free them, and oh my god, now that is the Fallout humor that I've been looking for so much of the game. So, anyway, that's the end of them. I head back around, go down to the third floor, where I notice that there are a lot of super mutants in one corner. There's one mutant that seems to be hanging out, and then there are a bunch of robots to the top right. And I realize that these robots actually pose little to no threat to me, so I obliterate them. I sneak around the one super mutant that is patrolling, and another thing I noticed is that these purple-robed figures, just like in the mutant base, didn't really seem to care that I was there. They were far too busy worrying about their little computers that are covered in slime and human parts, that they really didn't seem to care much about me. I find that the door past the purple-robed figures is probably the one that I need. There's really nothing else to see or do here. But again, you really could miss it if you're not careful and you don't look at the door itself. It could look like part of the wall. I open up the door, I go inside, and that's when I'm treated to some strange messages about hearing things and seeing things. Something's definitely going on here. As I'm walking down the corridor that's filled with flesh and human parts, it seems to be growing out of the walls. Every now and then, I'm hit with a few points of damage for random things. Like, I have people talking to me that are long dead, that it kind of creates like a mental block that hurts me for some points of damage. But at the far end of this, I see what's supposed to be an overseer chair. It's one of those pedestals with the round seat, and there's something sitting in it. And when I finally get to him, this is what I see.
So what shall it be?
Do you join the Unity, or do you die here?
Join.
Die!
Join.
Die!
Now, this is where the game really shines, in these really unique character models. Harold was one of them. The Master is a real other awesome character to look at. He's gross, he's attached to the computer, he seems more machine than human at this point, but he definitely is a really interesting thing and disgusting thing to look at. After we exchanged some different conversations back and forth, I found out later that you have to do a couple of different things in the Brotherhood, and I don't want to necessarily spoil that if you want to find a more peaceful solution than the one that I'm about to show you. But I've realized that this is a really, really tough fight. Not only does he have a Gatling laser that does a lot of damage, and also has a high crit chance, but there are super mutants pouring in through the corridor behind me. I fight this guy for a long time. I try everything. First, I think the Flamer is going to do the best. Maybe this is because of my love of the movie The Thing, and it seemed like Flame would kill something like this parasite, but he's not really an alien parasite, so that didn't work very well. So after I reload and I try to figure out something to do, and as much as I get this guy down to very little hit points, he always seems to crit me at some point. I say to myself, you know what? I need to try some of the biggest firepower I have. So I go back and find the rocket launcher that I had dropped, thinking that I needed to find another weapon to beat him. The rocket launcher works amazingly. After several rounds back and forth, I finally watched this guy die. And guess what? These developers love their countdowns. In the original Fallout, and even in the remake that they have since patched, you have 150 days to find the water chip. After that, you have about 350 days to find and destroy the mutants. Sounds like a lot of time, but why put such a time limit on it? You could just have the mutants moving in different directions or something, but anyway, I digress. But when you destroy the super mutant facility to the north, there's a countdown. You have to get out and run away before it kills you. Same thing here. The worst enemy of the game, the real final boss, was getting out of this facility in enough time so I wouldn't die. And I tried everything. I'm running up the stairs, I'm running past people, it's turn-based, it's taking forever. I get to the door, the cathedral explodes. With me, and that happens several times. I don't know what I'm going to do. I start looking up things online. Is there something I missed? Is there something I could do? Is there a way that I can beat this? Or am I just destined to constantly watch myself die? Lo and behold, the purple robe that Jeremiah drops in the cave is still there. And I do remember that those purple robe guys can pass freely through the cave and pass around the super mutants without being attacked. So I take a chance. I run down to Jeremiah's body, I pick up his robe, I hit combat, and I'm out of it, and now I'm able to freely run out of the cathedral. I watch it explode from a distance. I can't believe that I've actually done this. After every Fallout game, there are always a series of cinematic cuts with an overlay by the wonderful Ron Perlman, who talks about how your decisions affected the Wasteland, for better or worse. Some things I did that were good, some things seemed to not really work, and some things I had no idea happened, such as the super mutants destroying the hub. I had no idea. But then you want to know what happens to your story, and you return back to Vault 13, where the Overseer is waiting for you, not in his chair, but in the cave, and he has some news.
I've made a lot of tough decisions since I took this position, but none of them harder than this one. You saved us, but you'll kill us. I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.
So after all of that, after everything you've done for the Wasteland and for the Vault, you are cast out. And I think in part you're cast out because the Overseer couldn't let you have the spotlight. I think part of him saw, and this is completely inferential, but I think that he saw that you would be the new hero and people would look not to him, but to you from now on. So as you watch your character leave the vault, you have no idea whatever happens to him again. Overall, I will say, I know that I gave this a Rad Scorpion out of 10. I have to say that some of the parts towards the very end of the game were more exciting. Fighting super mutants, going toe-to-toe with those master's pets was really interesting. Fighting the master was really rewarding, even though it was so difficult. But I did overall really enjoy that part of the game. It wasn't enough to save it from what I believe was very underdeveloped in a lot of ways, and what I felt was not really living up to its full potential. Now, I did say that I bought Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics. And I've seen from many different gamers that Fallout 2 is their personal favorite. And I'm really interested to see how that stacks up against Fallout New Vegas, my personal favorite. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to get back into the universe. So stay tuned for The Tale of None the Second. When I go into Fallout 2, stay tuned and check out that video when it comes out. See ya.